Hey, good morning. Who's there? Anybody up? It's East Coast time. It's about 8:17 and I am driving to work. This is the only time I can make my video today, my God story video. I'll be working 12 hours today, so busy taking care of my mamas and my babies, which I love. So today is day 11 of my God stories, and I wanted to tell you today about God is healer. I've seen some healings. I haven't seen as many as I would like, but I'm believing God for more. But I want to tell you a few stories. So one is of my son, Ryan. When he was about 11, so he was diagnosed with mild scoliosis when he was a kid, and we were at a what do they call them? Supernatural nights or something at CBN. Anyways, Todd White, I don't know how many of you guys have heard of Todd White and his ministry. This was probably a year or two after he had started his ministry. It's a very powerful evangelistic and healing ministry. And he came and he was talking, powerful message. And then afterwards, of course, he loves to pray for people. And so my son he had called out, there's somebody with back issues or something. And so my son's like, I have scoliosis, and I said, okay, well, let's go get prayer. So we went up to get prayer. And instead of praying for the scoliosis right off the bat, he had my son sit down and he, tested his legs, held his legs out. Hey, Aaron, tested his legs out, and one leg was a little bit longer than the other. Oh, good. And so he prayed and he said, all right, I forget which leg. He said, left leg, grow. And my son was not into God and all that kind of stuff. And he said, left leg, grow. And all of a sudden my son goes, Mom, it feels like cells are multiplying in my leg. And we watched his leg grow to the length of the other leg. It was crazy. My son was like, Mom, we got to go to the doctor tomorrow and get my back checked out, and see if it's fixed. And because he did pray over his back too. And I said, well, we got a doctor's appointment coming up here in a few months. We'll go then. And so he had his well child checkup a few months later. And I love my doctor, and he's checking Ryan out, and having him bend and having him walk. And he's going, okay, do it again. Okay, bend this way. All right, now walk again for me. And I'm like, what? He goes, I was fully ready to get another set of x-rays and everything to see how his scoliosis was. He said, but if I didn't know better, if I hadn't read his chart, I would never have guessed that he ever had scoliosis. Isn't that awesome? And so, of course, I'm like, well, let me tell you what happened. And I told him what happened. Hi, Ingrid. And he was like, yeah, well, it might be that, it's fixed for a little while, but he could regress again as he's getting older. Let's just keep an eye on it. And I'm like, no, God healed him. God totally healed him. And he hasn't had problems that I know of since then. They were going to feature him on CBN on one of their testimonies, but my son was so shy and so scared he didn't want to do that. But I thought that was cool. So I have got two other healing testimonies, and I'm just putting this out there again because there's power in the testimony, right? I think Aaron was sharing last night about his son who has their son that has autism, and that prayer. I have a son who has autism, and my mom and dad came over for a week one time, and we were praying for a couple of my kids' issues. But my one son was having meltdowns at school every single day, to the point that the school that he was at was like, I don't even know if we can have him here. And I'm like, no, God told us to put him in this school. It was a private school. And so we had concentrated prayer every night for my kids, breaking off fear and I don't even know what. We just prayed for healing for him. And by the end of that week, I had already had an appointment with the doctor to maybe get him on some meds and everything. By the end of that week, I was like, I don't think we need to go to the doctor to get meds, because he was not having meltdowns. He was more stable. He was more peaceful. He was handling life better. I saw a huge difference. So that wasn't one of my healing stories, but that's another cool one. Good morning, Veronica and Ingrid. So another healing story. My daughter woke up one morning, 105 fever. My chest hurts every time I breathe. This was 2009 when the swine flu was coming. It hit our family hard. We had 5 kids. 4 got the regular flu, 3 got swine flu on top of after they got the regular flu, and then 2 ended up with pneumonia and 105 fevers. And my daughter, we took her to the doctor. They were like, we really should probably admit her to the hospital, but I know, again, I love my pediatrician. He's like, I know you're a nurse. I know you'll take care of her. You'll bring her back first thing in the morning. We're going to give her a shot of penicillin. and, you know, keep her hydrated, watch this, and come and see me at 8 a.m. Well, we could not get her fever down during the daytime. It was staying at 104. We were giving her meds. It still wasn't coming down. She couldn't eat. She couldn't keep anything down. And my dad came over, and he came to see her, and he said, I just want to pray for her. So he put his hand on her chest, and he prayed to break the fever, you know, prayed for healing. Within 20 minutes, her fever was down to 98.6. So she had no fever. And she was like, I'm hungry, Mom. Said her chest didn't hurt anymore. And so we went in at 8 a.m. the next day, and the doctor, again, the same doctor, he's like, wow. He's like, this is not the same girl I saw yesterday. The same girl yesterday was so sick. She should have been in the hospital. This is amazing, you know. And I said, again, I told him my dad prayed and we believe in the power of prayer. And he goes, well, it could have been that penicillin shot I gave her. I'm like, okay, and that too. And then my third testimony that I want to give you guys is of a cool little healing. I was on a missions trip with a friend, and her son fell and hurt his wrist, and it was starting to swell and bruise, and the missionaries were calling for the local doctor to come and check it out because he was in so much pain. They thought maybe he had broken his wrist. And my friend calls me in and asks if I would pray, or maybe I just volunteered to pray. I don't know. And so we just started declaring that the wrist would go back to normal, that the swelling would go down, the bruising would go away, that there's no pain and there's no broken bones in the kingdom. So kingdom come. And before our eyes, we watched that swelling go down and that bruise go away. And he could move his hand and wrist. It didn't hurt anymore. And we were so excited. He was like, wow, that's awesome, Mom. So we tell the missionaries, sorry, I'm trying to get over here. And we said, hey, we don't need the doctor anymore. God healed his wrists. And I thought they were going to be like, yay, wow, that's awesome. Instead, they're like, well, we already called. I'm like, yeah, but God healed her wrist. Like, I'm sorry that we already called. They were fine with it after, but it was funny. Their response at first was like, I've already made the call. That's a good call to have to cancel, though. So anyways, I want to declare over you guys today, if you are needing healing for you, for your family members, friends, any area of your life that you're needing some healing, go after that. God is a God who loves to answer prayers, and he is a healing God. Jesus died on the cross, not just for our salvation, but for our healing, that by his stripes, we are healed. His blood was shed so that we could be healed. And it is not kingdom. It is not kingdom to be sick. It is not kingdom to be dealing with issues. Now, do we? Yes, we live in a fallen world. And the Bible also promises that in this world we will have trouble. But what does he say? But I have overcome the world. So partner with Jesus, partner with God, go after that healing. Sometimes it's right away. Sometimes it's a process, and it takes a while because God, he knows what we need. And sometimes maybe our faith just isn't there. There's a whole variety of reasons. Healing baffles me sometimes, why some people get healed and some don't. We had a wonderful friend who was in the hospital for 18 months, godly man, evangelistic, everything, and he didn't get healed. Lots of people praying. He didn't get healed. Why? I don't know. But here's what I do know. I still trust God because he's a good God and he's a good dad. Good dads take care of their kids, but sometimes we just don't understand. And again, I said this the other day, that the more I get to know God, the more I realize I don't know a whole lot about him. And I realize that I'm getting younger and younger. I feel like I'm a 2-year-old compared to God. That 2-year-old, and I give that analogy, wants a cookie for lunch and the dad says no, and the 2-year-old falls apart in a fit, like, why? But I asked for it. It's good. It's yummy. Why wouldn't you give that to me? He doesn't use those words. He usually just screams and falls on the floor. And that's how I am. I can't understand God. If I could understand God, then I would be God. I want a God I can't understand because it gives me comfort to know that he sees a bigger picture. He understands more than I do. And I can go to him for wisdom and understanding, and sometimes he'll give me it, and sometimes he says, you're really not going to understand until you get to heaven. And so I have lots of questions for him when I get to heaven. My number one question, okay, this is a total side note. My number one question is, why, God, did you design our esophagus and our trachea right beside each other? Because I'm always breathing in liquid or choking on something. We could have saved a lot of deaths if you had put those like in separate holes. That's a nurse in me. I think of weird things like that. All right. Well, guys, have a blessed Thursday. Have a thankful Thursday. Give God thanks today. Give a shout out to God. in your prayer time and online and maybe on your Facebook feed. You know, what are you thankful for today? Because that thankfulness opens the door to the abundance that God has for us, whether it's for healing, for finances, for peace, that peace that passes all your understanding, that guards your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So go after that today. Partner with God and give lots of thanks. All right, I'm thankful for all you guys. Bye, Aaron and Veronica and everybody. I don't know who's still watching, but God bless you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll be working all day. Not working 9 to 5. I'm working 9 to 9. Actually, 8:30. I'm running late. All right, bye.